Om 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 Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Namah Shri Shankarananda Gurupadambu Janmane Savilasa Mahamoha Graha Grasaika Karmane. Hari Om. So we are in this Vedanta Shravana Sadhana Yagna on the 67th day, the 11th month. We are looking into this text called Tripti Dipa from chapter 7 of Panchadashi. Tripti is contentment, Dipa is lamp, the lamp of contentment. Realizing that light by which I attain whatever I wish to attain in this life and I am fulfilled. So, all this time, Swami Vidyaranya was talking about the self, the nature of the self, and Kim Icchan Kasya Kamaya, for whose sake are we desiring everything? For whose enjoyment do we strive day and night? Answering that question, Kasya Kamaya continues in the verse 201. Bhokta swasyaiva bhogaya Patijayadimichati Esha laukika vrittantaha Shrutya samyak anuditaha. Bhokta, the one who is the enjoyer of everything, for whose sake is he enjoying? Swasya bhogaya alone, eva, for one's own enjoyment alone. Pati Jaya Adikam, we choose husband, wife, etc. Ichati, they desire. Eshaha Laukika Vrittantaha, this is a popular notion. Shrutya Samyak Anuditaha, it is described in the Shrutis, in the Vedas also. Vedas are books of knowledge. Whatever we need to know, the description of that knowledge is given in the Vedas. It is not creating anything, it is not creating a situation, but it is describing the situation that is already prevalent. The enjoyer desires to have a husband or a wife for his or her own enjoyment alone. This popular notion has been described in the Margadarshika Upanishad. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. But then we are, whatever enjoyments we seek, we are seeking it for our own self. Then we find it very difficult to do work. We don't want to do work, we just want to relax. But for what sake or whose sake do we go behind things? Do we strain ourselves? Do we push our body into action? Why do we run day and night? For whose sake? When it is for our sake we want enjoyment, then why do we run and exert ourselves? Bhogyanam bhoktrushetvan ma bhogyeshvanurajyatam bhoktaryaiva pradhanetaha anuragam tam vidhitsati. Bhogyanam, For the objects of enjoyment, what are the objects of enjoyment? There are only 5 in this world. Object of seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling and touching. There is sound, form, smell, taste and feel. These are the 5 objects. Bhoktru Sheshatvat, it is meant for the sake of the enjoyer. All the bhogya is meant for the sake of the enjoyer. Ma, do not, bhokeshu anurajyatam. The bhogya, the object of enjoyment, is for the sake of enjoyer. The enjoyer is I, self. Don't be caught up in the enjoyment or the object of enjoyment. The object of enjoyment is for me. So the person I have to pay attention to is me, not the object, not the car, not the food, not the movie, but for me, for my sake. How am I feeling? Focus on that feeling. Focus on that emotion. Focus on the person who is enjoying that feeling. Bhokeshu anurajyatam. We are ma bhoktru sheshatvat. Bhogyanam bhoktru sheshatvat. All the objects of enjoyment, they are meant for the sake of the enjoyer, the bhokta, ma. So don't, bhogyeshu anurajyatam. Don't be reveling in the bhoga. Don't be reveling in the objects of enjoyment, because the objects of enjoyment are meant for the person. There was once somebody told, newly painted wall. The general habit is what we are taught at homes. Unnecessarily, when something is painted new, don't make it dirty too soon. So when I kept telling why this person is leaning on the wall, the person said, the wall is for you, you are not for the wall. Of course, when we want to live happily in life, we want to maintain things well. This is not a good logic. But from a philosophical point of view, the wall is the bhoga. It is meant for the bhokta. I don't need to be reveling about the wall. I don't need to be fussing around the wall, because the enjoyer is me. The wall is meant for me. Bhoktari eva pradhane ataha anuragam tam vidhit sati. Bhoktari eva pradhane anuragaha. In the bhoktari, in the self, have your attention, constant love for the self. So here the understanding of the self is very important. The self is not the body, all that has been explained earlier in the Panchadashi. Bhoktari, in that consciousness, may your anuragam, may your constant attention and love be placed on that consciousness. Tam vidit sati. The Vedas, the Upanishads, prescribe attention on the consciousness, which is the enjoyer of everything, rather than all the objects which actually exist. They have only existence. They don't have knowledge and bliss. They don't have manifest or expressing knowledge and bliss. They only have existence. So place your attention on that which has existence, knowledge and bliss, and not on the objects that have only existence. So this Swami Vidyaranya is giving the example of Bhakta Prahlada from the Bhagavatam. Ya priti ravivekanam vishayeshvana payini tvamanusmaratas same hridayan mapasarpatu. Ya pritihi avivekanam. That love which the ignorant people have. Ignorant people are those people who think the body is self. They do not know that consciousness is the self. Ignorant people, avivekanam, they don't have the right distinguishing between what is self and what is not self. Vishayeshu, in sense objects, anapayini, they have unwavering attention. Tvam anusmarataha, they are remembering. Sa me hridayat ma apasarpatu. They are going on thinking about the sense objects and thinking, may they not leave me, may they not leave me. But those objects that we really like, which we hold dear to our heart, whether we keep chanting this affirmation, at that point of time, we cannot always be thinking about them. And so, if we are not always thinking about something, we cannot hold something to us. Even if we are always thinking about something that will leave us because of the heat of the attention we pay, if we don't pay attention also, they will leave us at one point of time. What won't leave us when we don't pay attention are the objects that we hate. We have put in a lot of energy and kept it in our hearts, so they will not leave us. But when we pay attention to objects that we love, they will leave us soon because they are impressions that will melt. Tvam anusmarataha same hridayan ma apasarpatu. This is a quality of abhinivesha or a manomala, an impurity of the mind, which says, whatever I love, may it not leave me. Even earlier there was a verse, Bhavatam uttarottaram ma vignaha pratibadhantu. There are three things. May I have more and more objects of enjoyments. So may the objects of enjoyment not leave me. May they keep growing all the time. May there be no obstructions between me and the object of enjoyment. This is what a common person will keep wishing. Ya pritihi avivekanam vishayeshu anapayini. Just like that love that the people have for the objects that does not move out. Like a child that has got a new teddy bear, wherever the child goes, it will carry the teddy bear along. It will not allow anybody to take the teddy bear from the child. Anapayini, like the attention is not taken away from the object. Tvam anusmarataha same. So just like how they keep thinking, in the same way, O Bhagavan, O Narayana, Bhagavan Shri Vasudeva, same hridayan ma apasarpatu. In the same way, may you not leave me from my heart. This is the wish or prayer of Prahlada. O Lord, may I love you alone with such unwavering love as others have for the objects of the world. May I remember you alone, seek you alone. Such divine love should never leave me. Ma apasarpatu. It also means, O Lord, Ma, Lord of Lakshmi, that is Lakshmi Pati, may all worldly love leave my heart. Sarpatu, only love for God remain. Ma sarpatu. Ma pa sarpatu. The intensity with which the passion-filled man loves a woman and the unending greed with which a person loves wealth, may I always love Lord Sri Rama in such a way, says Bhagavan Tudasidasa in Tulsi Ramayana. Kamihi nari piyari, jimi lobihi priya jimi dama, भक्ति रघुनाथ निरंतर प्रियलागहु मोहि रामा. From Tulsi Ramayana. Thus, Nyayena, by this logic, Sarvasmat Bhogya, one more verse we will chant. The Guru is continuing. Iti Nyayena Sarvasmat Bhogya Jata Dviraktadhihi Upasamhrityatam Pritim Bhoktaryeva Bubhutsate. If the mind is going behind something, we are not able to control the mind. We cannot control the mind because with so much of force, it goes behind an object. When the mind goes, the senses goes, the body goes, it catches the object and brings it here and keeps it close here, and the whole cycle is repeated. So if we don't want the mind to go, we should have right thinking. The right thought should be placed, the right computer program. If the computer program is going viral, we have to clear that computer program and we have to place the right program so that the computer is functioning in the right manner. In the same way, this mind is a computer. We have to clear the viral program which goes behind objects, and we have to place the thought which brings the mind back to itself. Iti nyayena, in this nyaya, meaning like how Prahlada says, just like how people have with so much of intensity and power, they keep constantly thinking about you. In the same way, with so much of intensity and power, they keep constantly thinking about the objects of enjoyment. Sorry, I'm not put the microphone. I'm wondering how so much of my energy is getting dissipated while talking unnaturally. Only now I discovered the mic is not there. Iti nyayena sarvasmat bhogya jatad viraktadhihi. In the same way, like Prahlad was thinking, that may I always place my attention on you. Iti nyayena sarvasmat, at all times and in all places and in all means, bhogya jatat viraktadhihi. May I have that vairagya, may I have that virakti, may my mind be dissociated from the objects of the senses, may my intellect be dissociated. Upasamhritya, may I gather that mind, tam pritim bhoktaryeva bubutsate, that love, just like I place it on the Lord, in the same way, may I place it on the enjoyer, the consciousness, which is nothing other than Ishvara, bhoktaryeva bubutsate. I desire to know. We can love Bhagavan, but we can know ourselves. We can place our knowledge, we can place our attention on the knowledge of ourselves, just like how Prahlada wanted to constantly remember the Lord and place his love and attention on the Lord. Following this logic, one with a dispassionate intellect, having withdrawn that love from all objects of enjoyment, should direct it towards the enjoyer alone and desire to know the enjoyer. What should be our attitude in seeking the self? If I want to know the self, if I want to seek that self, what should be my attitude in life? Srachandana vastra suvarnadishu pamaraham apramatto yatha tadvat na pramadyati bhoktari srak chandana vadhu vastra. Srak is necklace and garlands, chandana, the perfume, the fragrances, vadhu, women, attachment to the other sex, vastra, attachment to beautiful clothes, suvarna, suvarna is gold, adishu, pamaraha, The person who is very ordinary, who is very ignorant, apramattaha, they don't have any kind of a deviation. How they are so alert. They are not relaxed in that, in their attention towards these things and collecting these things, hoarding these things and keeping them with them. Pamaraha, apramattaha yatha, just in the same way, tadvat, in the same way, tadvat, na pramadyati bhoktari. I do not, the person who seeks the truth does not show any kind of pramada. Pramada is a lack of attention, a lack of interest in doing sadhana, a lack of interest in wanting to know the truth by practicing every day the different paths of Shravana, Manana, Nidhidhyasana, Pramadyati Bhoktari. Just like how the person who desires all these objects, who does not have the discrimination, goes after objects like garlands, perfumes, women, or men, whatever, whoever they may be, gold and jewels and clothes. In the same way, may the person who is interested in knowing the self or seeking the self should not take their attention away from the self. So the logic for sadhana is the same. Whether you do it for, why this is mentioned is, when it comes to all these objects of love, nobody tells these people to pay attention. Naturally, they pay attention because they like it. In the same way, you like the seeking of the self so much that you pay attention to it naturally. Apramattena vedhavyam sharavat tanmayo bhavet. One should with total alertness aim to know the truth and become one with it, like an arrow which goes straight towards a target and merges with it. With alertness and constant practice, we also need Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Shraddha is a feeling, yes, whatever I am seeking, I am going to find it. It is not going to go away from me. The target, the object of my search is there, and I will reach it and I will experience oneness with it. That is Shraddha. In the words of the Guru, in the words of the Upanishads, the thoughts of the Upanishads. Japayogopasada, Japayogopasanadi, Japayogopasanadi, Kurute Shraddhaya Yatham, Swargadi Vanchaya Tadvat. Shraddha Svemumukshayam. The earlier example was from the people who are seeking objects of pleasures for their life. Now, this is about people seeking Swarga by means of japa, yoga, upasanadi. Through japa, through constant repeating of the name, through yoga, or drawing the mind to the integrating the body, mind and intellect, upasana, bhakti yoga, praying and worshipping to some god, so that kurute upasanadi swargadi vanchaya, with the desire that if I do all this, I will get a good place, meaning I will feel good wherever I am in life, in whichever place I am posted, I will feel good. So that is the reason why we do all these things. That is the reason why in Vedanta, slowly, we are asked to wean away from these practices also and seek the self. Because even these practices that we do, whatever we do, have the ulterior motive of attaining some state, attaining some place where we wish to be. Japa, yoga, upasana, adi. etc. We do japa, we practice different yoga margas like pranayama, asana, dhyana, nada yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga. They are very good. They are very good in purifying the mind, but they still yield some results. Upasana is sitting close to some devata and doing worship of that devata. Upasanadi kurute shraddhaya yatha. With a lot of intensity, we do all these practices. For what reason? Swargadi ichaya. We desire swarga tadvat. In the same way, shraddha dhyat sve mumukshaya. Shraddha dhyat means one should have faith in one's own liberation. Swa mumukshaya. Just as a man desirous of higher worlds, such as heaven, does japa, sacrifice, worship, and so forth with faith, in the same, the earlier one was love. With so much of love, uncompromising love, they go after pleasures of the world. Here there is uncompromising faith in seeking after heaven. They do all these practices. In the same way, we should have uncompromising faith in seeking the truth and liberating ourselves. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The one who has shraddha will gain knowledge. How to get knowledge? What is that force? What is that power? What is that feeling we should have to gain the knowledge of the self, or any knowledge for that matter? If I want to learn music, I should have shraddha in the teacher whom I know will take me towards that goal of learning music. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So if I have shraddha, I will gain that knowledge of the self. What is the other quality that is required? Chittaikagryam yatha yogi mahayasena sadhayet animadi prepsayaivam vivichasvam mumukshayam. Now here they take the example. They're taking the examples of all people. For some reason or the other, they are pursuing something with intensity. Now, the intensity of the yogi, chitta ekagryam yatha, that yogi is attaining one point of concentration of mind. For what? How is he doing that? Maha ayasena, with great effort. Ayasa is effort. Sadhayet, he is achieving that one-pointed concentration of the mind. For what reason? He's got a reason for that also. He gets siddhis. Anima, garima, lagima, mahima, prapti, prakamya, ishitva, vashitva. These are all the different qualities of the mind. The mind can become like an atom. It can disappear. Garima, the mind can become very heavy. When the mind becomes very heavy, it influences the body also. So there are people who have expressed these siddhis. There are yogis. Lagima, very light, like becoming like a feather, becoming like cotton. Garima, very heavy. Mahima, very, very great, becoming very huge. Then prakamya, reaching whatever I want to achieve, any form. Prapti, attaining whatever I want to attain, whichever place I want to go. Ishitva, being the lord of everybody, the master of everybody, controlling others. Vashitva, bringing others into my control, my vasha. Sri Hanuman has got all these siddhis, and worship of Hanuman can bestow, he has got the power to bestow these siddhis on others. So, Mahayasena Sadhayed. People accomplish all these siddhis. Animadi Prepsaya. And what is that? What is the desire that they have? They want to get all these siddhis, and so they do all this sadhana without any compromise, without any neglect of their sadhana. They do it in the same way. Vivichyat swam mumukshaya. For the desire of my own liberation, I should do vivichya. I should practice viveka of what is the self, what is not the self. Constantly distinguishing between who am I and who I am not. There are so many saints. Bhagwan Sri Vedavyasa, Sri Adi Shankaracharya, Jnaneshwar Maharaj have practiced these kinds of yogas which give siddhis also. Many stories are there in their life where they have performed these siddhis, and with that same intensity, they have also realized their self. Namdev Maharaja, even though he did not practice any Hatha Yoga, he displayed these supernatural powers because this is not necessarily through these practices. If the intensity of the devotion for Ishvara is one pointed, all the siddhis naturally come. Like people who worship Hanuman, Hanuman naturally blesses them with all the siddhis. So even through bhakti yoga, even through the practice of bhakti, they get these siddhis. Or even if they don't get these siddhis, when the mind becomes one-pointed, there are so many ordinary things, there are so many extraordinary things that begin to ordinarily happen in their lives. What are the extraordinary things? Satya Sankalpa. They don't need to do something to make it happen. They just think in their mind and that will happen. Because the mind, body, intellect, everything has become one. And with a constant meditation on the object of dhyana, and so that also yields these supernatural powers in them. What specific skill does the spiritual seeker practice? The Guru is saying, Kaushalani vivardhante tesham abhyasa patavat yatha tadvad vivekosya abhyasad vishadayate. Kaushalani, with efficiency, vivardhante, they increase, they develop. Tesham abhyasa patavat, a person who's playing cricket or a person who's practicing swimming, as a result of consistent long practice, they improve their skill. Yatha tadvat, in the same way, vivekaha, discrimination, asyapi, in this way, abhyasat, due to practice also, the viveka or the ability to discriminate between what is the self and what is not I, vishadayate, it becomes very clear and strong. So just like how we practice music, we practice dance, we practice any sport, somebody even in the job of thieving, with constant practice they get better and better. Without getting caught, they are able to steal from other people or pickpocket from other people, pick other people's pockets. With practice, they get better and better. In the same way, with constant practice of viveka, discriminating between who am I and what is not I, through whatever means possible, we are able to excel in this knowledge of the self. By excelling in this knowledge, we don't have anything to gain in the world outside, but we can be happy of reaching the goal of self-realization. Continuous practice of the separateness of self from the body makes thought stronger, and one clearly understands the nature of the self, distinct from the not self. So we will see tomorrow what is the role of distinguishing between what is I and what is not I. Om सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। बोले श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हर नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम।